for Unit 210, you have to produce a cake decoration in a medium for the top tier of a 3-tier wedding cake. So just using the ones we've got over there. You don't have to actually make it on one of these. If there's one spare, great. If not, just draw a circle on like a piece of paper or something and place your Oasis on that so you know what sort of size to be doing, because there's obviously not enough of these to go around yet. Now when you come to do the assessment for this, you have 25 minutes to make it, cost it and evaluate it using the evaluation sheets.
25 minutes?
25 minutes. Yeah. Doesn't seem like a lot, does it?
No.
But these are really simple designs to be made. Okay, so this is the container that you're going to use. Now these are called mini depots. Now these actually do have a sticky back to them, but obviously you're not going to stick it to a wedding cake, so you wouldn't use it at all. So you're just going to place it in there. Now considering this is going on a wedding cake, you know, similar to the pomander, I don't soak mine, I don't wet it, because obviously it will drain like Oasis, it will leak through, and you don't really want that going onto the wedding cake. So if you're doing it in the shop, I would probably say it's probably best to just put a touch of glue on the ends of the flowers to put them in, but you don't have to. But for security, I would do that. Now there's two ways you can do these. You can either have it sitting in the centre and do like a round posy, or you can have it to the edge and do like a sort of crescent, like semi-crescent on there. So I'm going to just demonstrate the semi-crescent. So remember, you don't want it to go too big because people do want to see their wedding cake still as well, so you don't want it the size of this. So I'm just going to create my shape by using the eucalyptus is good because you can get some really nice curves with that, especially if you want to do the semi-crescent. Okay. Now remember, you don't have a lot of Oasis space here as well. So when you put in, you need to make sure that you're putting your flowers in where you want them and that you're not pulling them in and out, because the Oasis will crumble.
So all you're decorating then is that little...
Yeah, just the little top tier. Yeah, you're just doing this little top tier. That's it. But you do have to, there really isn't a lot of space, so you do have to make sure that when you're deciding where to put your flowers, you're making that decision and you're not pulling your flowers in and out, because the Oasis is too small and it will crumble. So basically I'm just going to get my outline using the eucalyptus. And then, yeah, that's basically going to be all my foliage in for the bottom there, because obviously you can add the foliage in afterwards. Now for this you need to make sure you're using very petite flowers. Yeah, so we've got some mini roses. You won't need more than a stem each in this, because you know there isn't much space. So you want to find a nice open rose to be your centre one. Yeah, so you want to define your focal. I'm just going to put that straight through to the centre there. Okay, and then I'm just going to, because I'm doing the crescent shape, I'm just going to do like a nice sort of lazy S sort of shape. Now remember, it's very important that you don't, if you put something in wrong, don't keep pulling it in and out, because there really is not enough Oasis space here to warrant doing that, yeah? So you have to be quite assertive about where you're putting your flowers. You need to make your decision and stick to it. Okay. There you go, so one stem. And because I want to get that sort of curve to it, see how I've gone slightly longer on one side coming around here, but you shape it how you want. You can do a round circular one, you could do it completely even on lengths, that's completely up to you. What I am going to do as well is I'm going to use some of the buds, if you've got any on your stem, because they really look effective when doing these sort of designs, because they're quite small. They actually become part of the design. We're using bigger arrangements, they can get quite lost. So it's good to sort of use them to come through now. The other thing we've got is some little mini thistle. Okay, very cute, yes. Also, they're perfect for the size heads that you want to use in this sort of design, really, and they're good for recession. So when you want to, you know, recess a little bit, they're very good because they have so many different size heads on a stem. You can sort of really take your pick as to which one is going to suit best for where you want to put it. They go from buds to like medium size heads, right through to like, you know, the full blown ones in the middle. But I would say that size head is far too big for this sort of design. Okay, so again, I'm just following my lines through, similar to what you did like with your candles and things. It is all about looking at your lines going around, and then some of these buds I'm just going to use for the sides here so that you can't see any of the foam. Okay. There is also some green hypericum which you can use if you want to use in there, but also there's some of this that I can't remember the name of.
That's naughty.
Phylapsy.
Phylapsy. We used it on the wedding.
Yeah. It's got, this creates really nice movement. So, you know, you're cutting this down, and again, this has got all different sort of sizes to it. So it's really good to sort of use in there, because this is going to help create some really nice sort of rhythm and bits in there. Because it was looking a bit stiff, because I haven't used any foliage at the top yet. So this is going to help to create a bit of movement in there. Use it going round. Any bits and pieces you want. And then what I would do, when I feel like I've got enough sort of floral materials in there, I add a little bit more foliage to the gaps in the centre. So I don't put any foliage in the centre, because I want to make sure that my flowers all have enough room in the oasis to move. So when it gets to this sort of stage, I start thinking, okay, that's got enough floral materials in it now, I don't need any more. So I'd go back to getting like little bits of the eucalyptus or pittosporum, and then just start adding them in wherever you can see the gaps, so that you can't see any of the oasis. And then if you did want to use any of the hypericum, just be careful with the hypericum, because it can look a little bit heavy, I think, sometimes. You know, so when using it, make sure that you're not using it too overbearing. You want it to fill in spaces, you don't want it to become sort of like too focal. Okay, then I would probably say that will probably be about it then. So there's really not much materials that go into it, and it's quite a small design. So making this, truthfully, should only really be about 10 minutes. Well, if you think about it, I mean, when you have a go, you'll probably be quite surprised yourself at how quick you take to do it. I think that's why they add in the cost in the evaluation of it. So that would sit the cake there, yeah? But remember, you don't have to do, you can put it in the middle, you can do a traditional round posy if you wanted to. But do remember though, if you're doing a round posy, you only want it to be that sort of size, because you've still got to see the cake at the top. You don't really want it too big. You don't want it overbearing. So, you know, make sure that you can still see the majority of the actual cake. But I think sometimes it's quite nice to try to shape the cake, and you could do like a little less sort of shape bit in there, whichever way you want to do it. But remember, be very precise about where you're putting your flowers. Don't keep going in and out, because you don't want the oasis to crumble. It is eventually going to sit on someone's wedding cake, and they're not going to want.
So how much is that?
Really, I mean, it depends, because if you was to just do that for the top, it's quite a basic design, really. A lot of people want floral designs going down each tier, maybe like ivy or something, linking around them. But if you think about the materials we've used a stem of spray roses, which would be sort of $250. Half a stem of thistle, one stem of Hypericum and like a few bits of this. Material wise, you know, including your mini deco and that, it's about £5-6. So it's not really much, is it? And if you then think of your labour time, because you can't really charge too much for those, I'd only be looking at charging maybe £10-12 for something like that, because it's quite basic, yeah.